do something!
Suck my dick, Earth, with that bullshit.
Really?
It's like a gentle hate.
Do we have another benevolent star here? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are you benevolent as your friend was?
My name is Logan Paul, and I think I'm coming out of the flat earth closet.
This is so fucking depressing. I can't be a flat earth person.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have a flat earth and things making sense.
Good evening and welcome to another special 33rd degree Illuminati edition of Jem's Flat Earth Sunday Roast. I am your host Jem, and joining me as always are just some of the cool kids from the Debate Flat Earth and More Discord server. Please welcome Curved and Twit. Good evening, you guys.
Hey.
It's so good to hear you, Twit. It's been a long
It's
time.
always nice to hear you. Thank you.
It's been so long.
I know. Everybody's been saying, when's Jem going to have another show? When's Jem going to have another show?
And everyone's been saying, when's Twit going to be on again? We need a woman's voice. Why is Lewis Hackett in the audience?
Lewis.
And why is there no one else here? Oh, hi, Curved, by the way.
I think he got camera shy or voice shy. He was just talking.
My mic's on another page. It takes me a second to get to it.
Oh, well, Lewis can't make it, he says. Anyway, Scott and Kosho are supposed to be here as well, but they haven't turned up yet. So, we'll push straight on, shall we? Let me get a few things ready for a minute. You guys talk amongst yourselves. So, we start with the sad news that hit Flat Earth last weekend. Flat Earth rocket man Mad Mike Hughes was killed when launching his homemade steam rocket in a stunt for a TV show. Let's take a look back at Mad Mike's Flat Earth journey. He's sad. I know, I'm not doing well today. I'm nearly there, guys. Bear with me. New software and all that.
This is the what's left of a rocket that we were going to jump June 2014. And what happened, it launched by itself, and I thought it actually blew the right side of my face off. This right here is the uniform I'm going to wear during my next rocket jump, and actually it's going to be a rocket launch since it's going to be vertical. So all of this that's behind me is parts of the rocket that made the world record jump in January 30th of 2014, and it was a ride. I remember the thing going out the ramp. You know, the strangest thing, I remember hearing the air go around the nose cone of the rocket, which I'll never forget. And I pushed the lever for the parachute. I didn't feel any deceleration, so I thought I was in real trouble. And I took a hit.
And yet that doesn't dissuade you from trying again.
Well, you know, I kind of relate this to anybody else that gets injured doing what they do. You know, you just keep on doing it, I guess.
You get that bad shoulder.
And, I mean, if you're a boxer and you get knocked out, you know, do you quit boxing?
Sorry, it's not taking off. Oh! Whoa! Holy! Woo! Look at that! Oh, God. You see that?
That was crazy.
You see that? I just hope he make it all right down, though. Oh, God. Look at that. Woo-hoo! The wind is sticking it somewhere. It's coming down. Slow down. It's coming too fast. Secondary. Oh, man. All right.
Yeah. This seat. My seat. 1, 2, 3. Just a second, please. Easy.
Easy, guys, easy.
I don't know if I broke my back. Please, I don't know if I broke my back. Please, easy. I haven't. Please, guys.
We are, mate.
No, dude. No, I'm fine.
Don't twist him.
Just keep him in line.
Where do you want to go?
I don't know.
Back on that straight ground right there.
I need to lay down something flat, please. Come here, right here.
Lay him down, guys. Lay him down.
And I need something under my lower part of my back.
On the small of his back.
Come on my back, please.
All right, move.
Please, not jerking.
Nope, it's good.
This doesn't hurt, nothing hurts, just your back. A lot of people can't explain what it's like to take something from nothing and build something and then go make it happen. You know, you think you just wave a magic wand over the stuff that's done. It takes years. And that's why you don't really see any young guys doing stuff like this, because it takes a lifetime of experience and knowledge to do something like this. And I'm a 61-year-old man. I couldn't do this 20 years ago.
Right.
And I'd already been experienced in NASCAR, you know.
Yeah.
Museum cars, the whole bit, cars on the front row of Daytona. I couldn't do this.
So is this old technology, or is there
that? Yeah.
Okay.
And I just have an understanding of aerodynamics and wings and how things move around in the air.
I see.
Of course, that's on the ground, not in the air.
Right. Okay, absolutely, right. So, yeah, we're going to be learning a lot more about flat Earth and stuff.
Yeah, I don't claim to be an expert in nothing. I'm not.
I get you, right. Yeah, we're all learning. We're learning every day.
We're learning every day already.
Yeah, absolutely, right.
So it's just, most of it's just to inspire young kids,
Yeah.
young individuals to do something.
I think you're inspiring young and old alike. I mean,
I'm
seriously.
a 61-year-old guy, you know,
Right.
and I think the best years of my life is ahead.
Absolutely.
Do I have the energy I had 30 years ago? No. Okay, I get tired.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's.
We're used to, I could go for 2 or 3 days, especially when I was a limo driver in Vegas, man.
Yeah.
I go for days at a time.
Right.
But, you know, that's not my lifestyle anymore because my values have changed and the way I view things.
Exactly.
It's like, we're not telling anybody I believe in flat Earth. I believe it is.
Right.
The same research, research everything.
Yeah.
Research JFK, research 9/11, research what your congressman is doing, okay?
And Hillary, too.
And
Yeah.
everybody,
Right.
okay? After 9/11, I just started questioning things. With the flat Earth, I'm thinking, well, wait a second. You start studying all these videos, and you do some own observation. You're trying to make sense of all these different facts. You start putting this puzzle together with all these missing pieces, and I don't care about what they're telling us about from space. You start finding these places that's flat on this planet. Kansas is flat, okay? I'm telling you, I've been there, it's flat. People saying about stars, or we've got a rover on Mars. Where is the curvature where we live? I can't find it. I don't even know where the urge came from to question everything. I really don't. Basically, I think we're all supposed to push the envelope on everything, ask questions, and try to excel in things. I think we're supposed to inspire other people.
And that last clip there was Everett Anderson's compilation of photographs that he put together. Thanks for that, Everett.
I'm making an announcement tonight, finally, on in a more public way than I already have on my Facebook post here.
So, either of you guys got a comment on that one? Sorry about that little sound error there.
Did anybody else close their eyes at the end? I still haven't seen it crash.
Go ahead, Twit.
And I think that the majority of people, I was just going to say, I think I'm with the majority of people in saying that he did this. He died doing what he wanted to do. You know, like, I think that he was fully aware of the risks. And, you know, this is a life he chose, you know, being a daredevil and doing these. I mean, I have to give him credit for doing it, not dying, but at least following through with his desires, with his dreams, with his goals. I mean, he met his goal, and you know, it's sad to see him go. So when he was still so, I don't know, so agile. You know, he wasn't elderly old, and I don't know. I
think I feel the same way. I think it's sad because, you know, a lot of people have called him names and said he's an idiot and things like that. But as you say, he was doing what he wanted to do, and who is anyone else to judge him for it? You know, I don't think he was putting anyone else in danger apart from himself, and he got a big thrill out of that. And I also think that he's from a generation. I mean, he's a bit older than me, but, you know, for me, you know, Evel Knievel was a big hero for me when I was a kid, you know, and I can imagine he was as well for Mad Mike. And I think there's a sort of element of that, sort of trying to recover that nostalgia, because Evel Knievel was just massively internationally famous. And I think that, you know, there's probably a bit of Mad Mike that longed for that, you know. Any thoughts, Curved?
Not much more. I mean, like I said, it's sad. What I'm not going to say much about it now.
Maybe Curved isn't so keen on his on what he was doing. I don't know. What can you say?
Well, I know that it had to have been really. It's one of those things where, you know,
we're losing you, I think, Twit.
Ending on him. So any better now?
Yeah, it is now. Yeah, just say that again because we missed nearly all of that, I think.
Oh, I don't know if you can still hear me or not, but yeah. At the end, his last takeoff, launch, whatever you call it, there was a documentary crew recording him for something. I think it was for Discovery Channel. It's basically it's a show about amateurs trying to make it to space. Wow. Right, and I think that I think there are some more serious contenders being covered. Other than him, I guess, he brought some character to it, I guess, and showed the dimension of that. I guess, I can't remember the other teams, but I think there's 2 or 3 others that are involved with it, and they, from what I read, they all seem like more serious contenders for right, than he is or he was. Well, I heard 2 different things. Well, I saw the video that was released right after it happened, and it seemed to me that he went up and then, with the parachute failing almost immediately after launch, and so he went up and came down without a parachute. But somebody had said in another video that apparently he knew something was wrong with the launch and he ejected. And I'm still not sure if he went all the way with the rocket or if he ejected before the rocket went further up, and then of course before it landed.
I think there's a few sort of conspiracy theories flying around it, and I think that may be one of them. But
wow. Okay, I heard one.
Well, what I did hear was, though, I think there were 3 parachutes on this rocket. And as we saw in one of those other launches, he fires one and then he fires another one later on. Well, on this one, there were 2 of those later on ones that shoot out from the side. And he didn't fire either of those. And so they think that he may have been unconscious from when it launched. So what I heard was that as you see that parachute fly off, that sort of causes the vehicle to jerk a bit, and they reckon that may have knocked him out, and that is why he didn't fire the other parachutes. Because he did still have 2 that he could have fired, you see.
Well, if I had one wish, and it's really irrelevant now, but it would be that he was unconscious.
Right.
Because I can't think of, another thing more terrifying than knowing.
Right.
Yeah, it's equivalent to like a plane crashing. You know that it's going down, and
it would be awful, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and to be alone, especially,
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I have to try to keep it in the positive and know that he died doing what he wanted to do. So
right,
you can't get any better than that, right?
No, and none of us last forever, do we? So
no, we don't.
So, should we move on from that sad thing?
Yes, let's.
I know. That's why I put it at the beginning. Thought, get that out of the way first.
Yeah.
And, don't want to do too much piss-taking on that one. So, also, yes, organizer of the Biblical Earther Conference, Nathan Roberts, announced the cancellation of this event this week. Let's take a look. This is probably going to take a few seconds to roll in, so bear with me.
I'm making an announcement tonight, finally, on in a more public way than I already have on my Facebook post here. You can see from flatearthdoctrine.com on Facebook that I made an announcement that the Biblical Earther Conference 2020 is canceled. And I said more details to follow, which is now. Now is time to give more details. I issued a refund for everyone who registered, paid for the conference, so all registrations have been refunded. The title is Biblical Earther Conference Novel Coronavirus ? And I sent this on February 10th. And I sent it and I said, "Hi, I hope this email finds you healthy and well. The Biblical Earther Conference is set to begin in about 7 weeks from now. As you may already be aware, there are many recent developments surrounding the novel coronavirus, which has, as of January 30th, 2020, been declared a global emergency by and again, yes, it's not global, it's a plane emergency, because the Earth is flat, I get it, but that's what they call it, emergency by the World Health Organization, WHO. 1. What precautions are being taken to ensure that the staff of Unicoi State Park and Lodge are not infected with coronavirus? 2. What precautions are being taken to ensure that deliveries from vendors are not contaminated by the novel coronavirus? Number 3, what precautions are being taken to ensure that guests of Unicoi State Park and Lodge, including those coming to Biblical Earther Conference, are not infected with novel coronavirus? Number 4, what precautions are being taken to ensure that pets or animals on or near Unicoi State Park and Lodge are not infected or potential carriers of novel coronavirus? And number 5, what precautions are being taken to ensure that guests visiting Unicoi State Park and Lodge, including those coming to the Biblical Earther Conference, will not be infected with coronavirus during their visit to its facilities? Thank you for taking the time to thoughtfully consider each piece of information shared within this communication, as well as your timely feedback. Thank you, Nathan Roberts. Meaning they didn't have any way of ensuring the safety of their facility, their staff, the people coming in. And I'm not saying that it's not because they're not trying their best. I'm just saying it's because there's so many unknowns related to this particular situation. Just as my wife had a dream 2 nights before, they offered me the option of canceling the contract without any penalty whatsoever.
And there we have it. The Biblical Flat Earther Conference is cancelled because of coronavirus. So, what do you think? Did he do the right thing? Is he panicking?
Well, I'd just like to tell you about a rumor. I heard that Scott Veach is infecto.
Yeah, he hasn't stopped coughing for the last 3 weeks.
I'm just kidding. Shout out, Scott. Yeah, I mean, I could see why that would be a responsible thing to do, to cancel it, considering.
You know, when I saw the video at the time, I thought, you know, it all seemed a bit silly, and I think that he was perhaps, I think he perhaps hadn't had the ticket sales he wanted, and this was a handy excuse for him to get out of it. However, you know, since then, there's, you know, they've cancelled football matches, and I think, is it in France, you can't have more than 5,000 people in one place, and, you know, all of a sudden, it doesn't seem quite so nutty as it did a few days ago. So I don't know. But
I mean, at the very least, it's a good excuse.
Right.
If they didn't sell any tickets.
Right. But I do think that's it. Because he said he'd refunded everyone, which, you know, makes it sound like there wasn't very much money at stake to me, you know. I don't know. Well, I don't know. I
didn't get a refund.
Sorry, go ahead, Curve. Sorry.
I didn't get a refund.
You don't get a refund. They're gonna personally email you some Jesus.
But I do, you know, I get in a little bit of a tizzy about this thing myself, because I take an immunosuppressant drug and I'm 55 and I smoke, and I think, you know, if it gets to me, I don't know, I feel like maybe I'm a goner. But then I also have to remind myself that when, you know, I stick the news on and it says there's 3 cases here and a guy's died here, and I have to, you know, you sort of hear all this stuff and you think, you know, if I walked out in the street now, there'll be bodies lying around everywhere. But you have to remind yourself that they're reporting on the, you know, the health of 7 billion people when this stuff's cropping up on the news. When they say there's 3 more cases here, you know, they're talking about globally. So, I don't know. You know, normally when a guy in Brazil gets the flu, it isn't on my news. And yet with this, it is. You know?
Right. Yeah.
And I think we have to, you know, accept that there's an effect that is having on us, you know. And I wonder if it's making this thing seem more dangerous than it genuinely is.
Well, the difficult part is knowing how dangerous it is until you get it. You know,
Right.
and I think what they're trying to do is stop us from, you know, getting it, so that we don't know how dangerous it actually is. I think one of the things is that you don't know if you have some underlying illness that this will contribute to it being worse. You know, like you could walk around thinking you're perfectly healthy, not knowing that you have something wrong with you inside, you know, some kind of, I don't know, so just name it, you know, and you catch corona virus, and next thing you know, your body can't beat the infection. So, so I think that's probably where most of us are, where we're just thinking, well, we're hearing it's no worse than the flu. And, we've all had to deal with people being sick around us before. Like, how is this any different? Well, apparently it is. So they don't want you to find out how much different it is. I don't know. I think it was a smart idea to probably go ahead and cancel. And people were probably going to cancel anyway, even if they did buy the tickets. So
it kind of sounded like, if you heard all of that, the sort of to and fro he had with this venue, it kind of sounded like they were happy to have this excuse to cancel this event as well.
Well, it is an interesting angle, biblical flat earth. I mean, we've talked about this. We're still today. We were even talking about it, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's an interesting combination. It would have been interesting to see Bob actually be able to get the go ahead from the people that watch Globebusters to go ahead with the Flat Earth Church.
Yeah.
And see them make a run for it. But now we'll never know. Now we just get to hear about it.
Right. Well, I guess he won't do that again. It's not going to be the year of the Flat Earth Conference, I sense, this year.
I know. I wonder what they're going to do.
Right. Because it doesn't look like... Although I did hear someone mention Vegas. I don't know what that was about. It was in a chat somewhere. Vegas 2020. I saw, but it may have just been someone, testing an idea or something. I don't know. Maybe I just dreamt it all. Who knows?
Well, I mean, you know what? That would be a perfect place for a Flat Earth convention. I mean, they can have Elvis impersonators. They can have, aliens there. They can have all sorts of things, There could be Flat Earth weddings performed at the chapel, and
oh, God, yeah.
All sorts of things can happen.
I've been to Vegas. I have to say I didn't like it very much.
Well, you're not supposed to talk about that.
There were aspects to it I liked, I guess, but there were... I mean, it's a pretty sleazy place, let's face it.
What happens there is supposed to stay there.
Yeah, I can understand why that rule exists, I feel. I stayed in the Sahara Hotel, and it was, very 70s.
Oh, wow.
And I stayed in the 90s. I kind of appreciate that now when I think back. I think that's kind of cool. It's kind of like I kind of stayed in sort of the old sort of mafia-run Vegas, before the big chains took it over.
Corporate takeover.
Yeah, it did that. Yeah. They were probably still murdering people when I stayed there. Anyway, let's move on, shall we?
We shall.
As usual, Flat Earth has provided us with an abundance of people called Nathan doing stupid things. This time, it's Robert's. Take a look at his recent antics.
Hello. Hey guys, real quick. I got a flyer for you. Check it out. No, I'm sorry, we can't. I can't give them a flyer? Hey guys, check this out real quick. Space is fake. You're not on a spinning ball. They're gonna teach you, listen guys, they're gonna teach you you live on a spinning ball. That doesn't make it true. It's not real. The floor is not moving 1,000 miles an hour. Okay? Yo guys, let me give you a flyer real quick. Here. I love you. Come take a flyer. I'm gonna flat smack him. Guys, you don't live on a ball. The earth is flat. I got flyers for you right here. You can check out my YouTube, okay? Some of them picked them up. Hey, give them to the teachers. Hey, you can verify everything on my flyer. Large bodies of water do not curve. Hey guys, you're not on a ball in space. The earth is flat. Large bodies of water do not curve. Okay? Large bodies of water do not curve. Research flat earth. That's how you do it right there. Got them all right there. Jeez. That was funny. All right, guys. Well, make sure you red pill the youth. That's why they get them when they're young. If you're just tuning in, you just missed me flat smacking like probably 400 kids. So that was cool. Well, if they're gonna reserve the right to lie to the kids, I'm gonna reserve the right to tell them the truth. Better believe that. I don't need to ask anyone's permission to tell kids the truth if they're gonna lie to them. So I've been wanting to flat smack this school for a while. You know what? I might come back when they get out of school and they're all waiting for the bus and walking home and stuff, because I just feel called. Maybe I'll go live in an hour again.
So I got it wrong, actually. That was Thompson. The other one was Roberts. Pretty unbelievable, really, that he did that. It's not the first time, is it? I think he knows it gets a YouTube reaction. I think that might be part of what his game is.
Yeah, I think that he's pushing the line pretty far, though, for the non-YouTube flat Earth universe. You know, I can't imagine teachers and parents are going to be real thrilled with this man who they don't even know really what he's saying. He's just engaging children who are on a playground, and then he's yelling and screaming and throwing flyers. And I don't know if that's, you know, something that I would recommend for anybody to do, because, you know, eventually he's going to cross a line and get hurt, I think. You just can't go after people's kids. I think that it really makes people respond and react in a very different way than if it's like a group of adults being told that the earth is flat, you know?
Right. I've just actually been sent, while that clip was playing, Chris, Scottish Chris, sent me a link to, I can't get it to display properly at the moment, so hang on. It's arrests.org, and it's Nathan Thompson. And the date is the 29th of February.
That's yesterday, right?
Yeah. Arresting agency is the sheriff's office in Greenville County, South Carolina.
Wow.
And he was arrested for disorderly conduct.
Yep.
So I think you're right. I think he did.
Yeah.
Clearly he did push it as too far. We were talking about this yesterday, and I was saying, you know, he would never get away with that here. They would round him up. They would find a reason to get rid of him, but they wouldn't let him. I mean, you can't do that nowadays, can you? You can't hover around a school.
No.
You know, when you haven't got any, you know, professional reason to be there. You know. I don't know. He's a disgusting character. And I also thought it was telling that at the end there, when he says, "Oh, I feel called to this, called to do this. I'm going to do it again later, and I'll go live in an hour." You know, his calling is to go live on YouTube. Do you know what I mean? That's a big part of his calling.
Well,
you know.
Well, I wonder why he doesn't. I think he could probably be pretty successful doing like a youth online youth program. You know, maybe something like, you know, religiously affiliated, and then slip in the flat earth there. I don't suggest it, but I think that that'd be better than actually going out and approaching children.
Right.
Just have a place where they can come with their parents' approval to do, you know, attend a online youth program or something like that. I don't suggest it again, but I just think it would take, if he just said, here's the access, you know, to my, you know, calling and my information, but you're free to come if you'd like, then that's a different story than to go to the park or to a schoolyard and force it on people.
Right. You could you know, do what Marilyn does, and Marilyn's spirit level, and set up a stand somewhere. And
yeah,
I mean, she has taken it to some colleges and universities, but that's a whole other story, you know, because there you're dealing with young adults, and all they do is take the piss anyway. So, you know what I mean? They're not, you know, there are no converts when she's done those colleges. And I know the Globe Lighter, I've heard Jason of the Disbury family saying he doesn't like it when the kids come out of school, you know. You know, Mark Sargent always says, we've got the kids, but they haven't. Sorry,
no,
go ahead.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he's talking when Mark says something like, say that again, Curved? I talked over you.
Oh, he just says that to piss us off.
I think that's part of why he says it, yeah. It's a thing, isn't it? I think that's why Nathan Thompson does this as well. He knows it's gonna get a reaction on YouTube.
Well, I think he believes it as well. I mean, it sounds like he believes it, that he, you know, that he believes that the school is teaching inaccurate information, and that but as globe earthers, being science oriented, you're being taught science, you're being held hostage learning science, which he believes is false. And, you know, he thinks that they're playing that game as being schools, so why not him, you know, take that route too? Like, he has to get the kids too. So I think he does believe in it.
I think so too, sadly.
Yeah.
Shall we move on? We're actually doing okay on time.
I just wanted to let you know that I've heard from both flat earthers and globe earthers that they don't want Nathan doing shit like that to their kids. So,
right.
I mean, both sides seem to think the same on that.
It doesn't look good, does it? Let's face it. It does not, you know what I mean? It doesn't look normal. You know, it's just questionable behavior. Whatever he was saying, you know?
Yeah.
You know, if he was there, you know, giving them, you know, fire safety advice, it would still be dodgy, you know, in my view.
Yeah, just hearing about what he did, you know, definitely gave me a bad view of him over it. But actually hearing him and seeing him do it here, that's like a whole nother level now of just how messed up I think he is.
Right.
I mean, he's one step away from like saying, I've got candy, come over here and see what I have to say, or listen to what I have to say, you know, or driving around with a van that says flat earth and free candy or something.
I mean, they don't.
It's just weird.
They don't know in that school what's on those flyers. I mean, he could be some sick fuck that stuck a load of pornography, or, you know, who knows what it could be anything on those flyers. They don't know. It could be who knows? Could be anything. He could have impregnated them with something.
Oh, yeah.
Some sort of
Okay.
poison. Well, I didn't mean that, but I did actually mean the content of the flyers. You don't know what, you know what I mean? They don't know what's on there. And I did notice, actually, if you listen carefully to that clip, if anyone wants to run it back, or if you're listening to the recording now, run it back and you will hear one of the kids in the background going, "You're crazy." And of course you see the teachers having to drag the kids away. You know, I mean, he's effectively, you know, he's shortened their we call it playtime. I think you call it recess, don't you? But
recess.
Yeah,
yep.
You know, he's had a, albeit small, but he's had an effect on that, and that's not a good thing, is it? You know.
Yeah.
Well, there is a potential downside to him being arrested over this, and that's if he does get to court over this, he's going to have an opportunity to flat smack that judge and set dangerous legal precedents.
Yes. He'll want to do that, won't he? Yeah.
I'm worried.
Oh, I hope this is on Court TV.
Well, I was hoping I was hoping for the day that Live PD, you know, my #1 favorite show, would actually pick up one of these people in South Carolina, because their cameras, the Live PD films in South Carolina. So he's like, one of these days we're going to see one of these, you know, flat smackers get flat smacked.
I bet we could make a Freedom of Information request for it, couldn't we?
All right. I don't know. I mean,
I bet we could.
Yeah.
See Nathan Thompson getting arrested. I bet it's great footage. Knowing him, though, he's probably recorded it and he's going to upload a series or something, you know.
Well, I mean, it kind of makes a little martyr out of you in a sense, right? If you're if you get arrested doing what you believe is spreading truth.
Yeah, you're right. I guess that's how he'll present it, and probably how it'll be viewed as well.
Well, keep your eye on Everett's channel. As soon as it's out, we'll have it uploaded.
Everett's great.
Yeah, he is. I've stuck a link. I did mention it earlier, but I may have been on the end of that video. So, there is a link to Everett's channel in the description. So, do subscribe to his channel, because he deserves a lot more views. He's uploading, you know, several times a week, and it's all good flat earth gossipy stuff. So if you're here, you'll definitely want to subscribe to this channel. Link
he
is
has
in
to
the
watch all that stuff. He has to watch all that stuff so we don't have to.
Right, yeah, and then I just stroll along once a month and rob it off him. like I have just done. Okay, so shall we move on?
Sure.
If you thought that last clip was sick, you ain't seen nothing yet. Take a look at David Weiss in action. Not quite.
All right, tell me your name.
Ruth Heath.
Ruth, and how old are you today?
102.
102. So you were born in
1918.
1918. And we were just talking, and I asked you what shape the Earth is, and what did you say? What were you taught in school in elementary school?
I was taught in school that the Earth was flat.
And then what do you remember when they changed it to a globe?
Well, when they changed it, I remember when they changed it, but I can't remember the date or anything like that.
And did you believe them?
Yes, I did.
You did. Now,
I was young.
Right, and we all were told by people that we trust.
That's right.
Where did you go to school? Elementary school.
I went to Spurglen School in Hamden, Connecticut. I lived on a farm and grew up with all kinds of animals. No electricity. A big white farmhouse.
Amazing.
And we had to walk to school We didn't have a bus to take us to school. We had to walk to school and walk home through all bad weather. It was, living on the farm was a life of, yeah, I can't explain it.
So getting back to the flat Earth, you said that you're religious, that
Yes.
you follow the Bible.
Yes, I do.
And are you aware that the Bible is all about the flat Earth? That God put the earth on the footstool and separated the waters from the waters, and created the firmament. If you read Genesis, I'm not the Bible guy. I have friends that are so good at it, but there's over 200 verses in the Bible that refer to a flat Earth.
That's right.
And I think there's only one verse that mentions Earth as a circle, but just like this table right here, that table is a circle,
Right.
but it's flat.
That's right.
Right. A circle is different than a sphere. A sphere is the same in every direction.
That's right.
The circle of the Earth. So how does it make you feel to realize that you were right as a kid?
It makes me feel better.
It does make you feel better, right?
Oh, it makes me feel alive.
Oh my God, that is so true. My whole life, I believe, what I was taught.
That's
and then
right.
when I discovered the flat Earth,
I feel better about it.
because we are the center of creation.
That's right.
We are important.
That's right.
We are here.
We are God's children.
Excellent.
Yes.
I will,
I believe in God. I trust God. And when all the problems that are happening in this world today,
I'll give you some good news. A lot of the problems that they report on the news aren't even real.
that's right. That's right.
They're just keeping us in fear.
Keeping up. That's right. That's right. That's right. I understand that. I understand. They just say what they want people to know. They don't care about the Bible. They don't care about life. They only care about I, me, myself, and I. It's a different world.
So the globe deception that a lot of people say, and I believe, is literally by Satan to hide God and
That's
make
right.
people selfish
That's right.
and self-centered and not care and think that there's no consequences for their actions.
Right. I pray every night before I go to bed. And one night things weren't happening right. And I sat up in bed and I said, God, where are you? I need you right now. And I'm beginning to wonder, where is God?
God's right above us in the clouds. The heavens are right here. That's all that there is. And there's not infinite space. Did you know, wait, let me ask you a question, just switching topics a little bit, that we never went to the moon, that was all fake?
Is that right?
That's correct.
I saw that all happening.
Yeah, so did I, and we all believed it, but that was just to reinforce that people to believe they can live on a ball and they could walk on a ball. Nobody's ever been to space because space doesn't exist. There is no space. There's just this world.
Oh, it's such a lie.
It's such a lie, but knowing the lie is like going to a magic show.
I woke up.
Yes, that's what we call it. We call it red. This is your moment of waking up.
Oh.
It's when you go to see a magician and you know how the tricks are done, and the magic no longer works on you, and you're free from the illusion. So knowing this is going to free your heart.
Cry.
Yeah, it's okay.
It makes me cry.
Happiness.
Yes.
Tears of
yes,
joy.
Yes. Yes. I know that we were true, and they're hiding us.
Yes, it's good though.
It's good.
It's very good.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
I'm awake.
Yes.
I'm awake.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to end this video now. All right. Thank you so much.
That's my pleasure.
All right.
It's my pleasure to know that It's true.
It is absolutely true.
Oh, it's amazing.
Here's the thing: if you tell other people that aren't awake, they'll think you're crazy.
That's right. That's right.
That's their problem.
No, I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So good, right? I'm glad we met.
I am. I'm so happy.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. It's right.
All right, I'm gonna, this is what I did. I was visiting my mother, and I asked who the oldest, most lucid person was, and they introduced me to Ruth. Ruth, right?
Yes.
And I encourage anyone else that has access to an old age home to do the same, because there's not many people like Ruth left that remember these things.
And that was David Weiss doing his thing.
Wow. How old was she?
102.
Again? Well, number one, her skin looks great for that age.
I know.
Like, I would like to know what her secret of keeping her skin look good.
A lot of people have said that they didn't. They doubted her age somewhat. But then,
yeah,
she gave her year of birth, didn't she? And
yeah.
She also talks about visiting the World's Fair, which I think, wasn't that like 1925 or something? I can't remember. Sorry, go on.
I don't recall. Yeah, no, I don't recall that, but I'm sure she was talking about the one in New York because she's from Connecticut.
Right. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But
anyway, yeah, I think that it's nice when people visit. It looks like she's in a nursing home or something, a retirement home or something along that line. But I think it's nice when people go visit elderly people, because a lot of times they get left alone, and staff is staff, and it's nice to just have somebody from the outside world bump into you, kind of thing, like just exchanging pleasantries or whatnot and news from the outside, and whatever. But I think that there's really no harm at this point with this lady. I just don't understand why they have to bring flat earth as the message. Why can't it just be a loving God message?
Right.
To somebody that age. Why does it have to be, what, you were taught that it was flat, and then then they lied to you and told you that it was a sphere, and now I'm here to tell you it is flat. They lied. It's flat. Why do they have to bring that into it? Like, now she has to look over her 100 years and think, go through everything and think, what else was I lied about? You know, and then her last days are thinking about how her whole life might have been a lie, and that's just really kind of crappy to do that to somebody, in my opinion.
Right.
He could have just kept it the message of, God loves you, and God's real, and you had a great life, and here's to a couple more, a couple more years. And
the thing is, for him though, that isn't his message. He said himself, I'm not the Jesus person or something like that. I can't remember exactly what. I'm not the God person or the religion person. And and he talks, you don't really see it there, but he's anxious to get her to talk to, I think it was Nathan Thompson, actually. Maybe Nathan Roberts, one or the other. To give her this biblical perspective. But I just think, I think that whatever her reaction, and, clearly, we can't, it seemed to be a good thing for her at that moment, at least. But, I thought about this and I thought, well, what if he had gone in there and said, oh, well, they've just announced that time's going to run backwards. Mm-hmm. And you're, next year you're going to be 101. And in 10 years, you're going to be 91. And, 50 years from now, you'll be back in your 40s or your 60s or whatever, he could have, that would have been equally true to what he told her.
Right.
And I'm sure she would have been very excited to hear that news, and would have loved to hear it. But ultimately, it's not true. and I don't know. I guess you could make an argument that at that age, as you say, I don't think maybe there's harm, maybe there isn't, but I think you've said it right,
Yeah.
There's other things he could have done without doing that.
It's interesting to see that there's maybe there was a meeting of some sort where they being the Flat Earth core group here, that they decided we'll go after the children and the elderly. And I mean, is this some kind of attack plan that they have going on here?
Yeah, I mean, this is why I put these two clips together, because I think it's interesting, isn't it, to see how they're targeting the vulnerable now.
Exactly. That's what came to my mind. It's like the two most vulnerable people in our society. What's next? Are they going to hit up hospitals and get sick people? And I don't know. Yeah. It's interesting because I know a lot of our friends don't have the issues that I do, because it's, they maybe fall more on the atheist side of things, where there's no doubt, that they don't believe in God. They don't believe in all that stuff. I do. And but what I have a problem with is understanding how that has anything to do with Flat Earth, just because there may be some kind of interpretation of that in a Bible that, we could go on and debate that, and we have several times in your Discord, but I don't understand why the message has to be about the flat Earth. Like, why? I think if God wanted it to be known that the Earth is flat, then we wouldn't have seen images of the spherical Earth, like there would have been we wouldn't have been able to go to space and all these things. So, and we have, and we're going back and to the moon, and we're going to reach further into space, and I'm happy for that. I'm happy for God's miracle, which is humanity, that I hope that we can get our act together and just move on in a better way in the future. I mean, you can always be positive and optimistic about the future of humanity, and that's where I choose to be, and it doesn't have to be a flat Earth to do that.
Right. And he dropped into that standard narrative, didn't he, of sort of, if you believe in the globe, it means that you don't care about anybody and you're self-centered, and just all this complete, where's that nonsense come from?
It's not nice, and it's not good to hear. Like, I've been told that I can't believe in God because I'm not a flat earther, and which is, it's offensive.
It really is. Mm-hmm. It ignores so much of the whole history of Christianity, where there have been almost no people who have interpreted the Bible to say that the earth is flat. Almost none. And the ones that have are famous for interpreting it that way, because that's unusual,
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. He mentioned the thing about being special, that we're special. We are special. I mean, we're humans, and we're all special because we're not still living in the woods hunting small creatures to eat and worrying about being eaten by bigger creatures, Right. So,
and if you if you accept evolution, that as it's presented,
right,
it says that 99.9% of all species that have ever lived are extinct. So that makes you extremely special.
Yeah.
You're one of the few species of all of the ones that existed that survived, that made it through.
Not only that, we're even more special because we get to live during the time of this technology that's allowing us to communicate like we are right now.
Right, quite exactly, yeah. So there's so many facets to it, aren't there? The way that you can look at it, and I don't know anybody that thinks that has the worldview that David Weiss was describing of not caring and being self-centered and, you know, all the I can't remember all the other things he said, but I don't know anybody that thinks that way, you know, just
well,
maybe my housemate.
Yeah, he's a jerk. He has a problem with the boxes. I don't like him too much, but no, I'm just kidding. But let's go with what the flat earthers say. It's a flat earth, and there's probably a dome and the separation of the waters, like David was saying. So let's just go with that's what it is. Okay, we're the ones that are not in reality, right? We think it's a sphere and it's actually flat and there's a dome and all this stuff. So with that being a fact, if it was in fact flat, there's still those people on this place. So on this flat earth, there's bad people who don't care about anything but themselves. There's bad people who don't care about you, you know. So what does he think is going to be the difference? You know, he thinks it's flat and these bad people exist. So when do they go away?
Right.
You know,
right.
At what point do they leave, David? Because you say it's flat earth and there's still bad people here. So when do they go? When do they leave?
They think they like to think of themselves as special people, though, don't they? So I think they think that if once everyone believes the Earth's flat, they'll all be these sort of lovey-dovey hippie types that you know love each other and go to meetups every year. I don't know. I don't quite know what they think.
It does sound like a utopia, though, and
right.
That's kind of crazy. But good luck.
Any thoughts, Curved? We've been chatting away here.
I forgot them all.
All right. Well, if you like, we'll get David Weiss to come and visit you in your nursing home, and he can convince you that the Earth's flat.
Well, I won't forget him any faster than she'll forget her visit with him.
There is one thing I noticed about this, though, that, you know, some weeks ago, months ago even, I think it was when David Weiss, I think it was him and Jeranism, I think they were talking to Owen Benjamin, it may be. I can't remember exactly who it was. Somebody not fully initiated with it all. And he said, so when was it, Jaron, that they introduced the globe? Was it the 1930s, wasn't it? So that was his view before he spoke to this old lady. And then he speaks to this old lady, and lo and behold, now it's her memory. So I wonder. I mean, I don't know where he got that idea from, that the globe was introduced in the 1930s. I've never heard any other flat earther say that, but he definitely said it.
Well, I think that they get this perspective of introducing the globe as more public schools became accessible and mandated from the U.S.
Right.
Because it used to be, our schools, it's easy to look it up and see how our public school education system actually came into existence. You know, in the first place, it was all originally run by religious people. It was religious churches ran our public schools at first. But public being you had to pay to have access to them. So therefore you usually only had the more wealthier people. And this goes back to we're not a very old country. So, it goes back to the start, where kids weren't always going to go to school. So as it became more and more locally taxpayer funded and whatnot, the schools opened more, but we didn't go but to sixth grade, and then they added on a couple more years, and then so it's been throughout pretty much the 20s and 30s before we had like a public school system that included high school, and still at that point not a lot of people went. So but the people who did were getting introduced to higher education, which would have included more science at that point, a more advanced science, which at the time, you got to take it back to the time, which at the time would have included knowing physics and geometry and higher levels of education that weren't previously taught to just your younger students attending their 6 to 8 years of public education.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of developed as I guess we see it, particularly perhaps in the US, but I think it's reflected here. I think that schools have changed as, people's jobs have changed. And, 100 years ago, you needed your kids working on the farm, basically, and then as people have, started to take on, working in a factory or working in an office, well, you can't take your kids to work with you. Now you need somewhere to put them while you're going to do that stuff, don't you? And I think that that's probably a large factor in the way that our education systems have developed over the years. It's, you used to take your kid down the mine with you,
Well, that was going to be his job too, right?
Or he was the device you used to clean the chimney, So, I think that's a factor. Termin actually just sent me a link to a school geography textbook from the 1920s. 1920 school geography. God, I've lost the link now. But anyway, it has a nice globe on the front of it.
Oh, see, the indoctrination started in the 20s. There we go.
So I'm not really sure about Ruth's memory there, I don't, yeah. I mean, I guess it's possible that she went to some school and was taught some, very literalist view of the Bible. Maybe she may well have been. I mean, she describes a rural
that's what I was thinking. She was a farmer's child, which there's nothing wrong with that. We appreciate farmers 100%, but it's not. There wasn't a big need to have just your average students going off to higher learning at that point. They needed to, and sadly at the time, or maybe not so sadly at the time, women were not necessarily pushed into going into higher education. They were, being more groomed towards being a wife and then a mother and things like that. So there wouldn't have really been a need to teach Ruth physics and astronomy and things like that, unless she was showing that was her interest at the time, which it probably wasn't. So I'm thinking she probably received your basic education, and then even with that, she could have gone off to college, but she probably studied something that clearly wasn't in the sciences. Right.
Anyway, good for her. She should write a book on skincare, I think.
She should. I'll buy it.
Yeah. She would make a fortune. Right. Well, we've got one big fat last clip coming up. When I can find the right webpage again with me script on. As much as I hate to do this, I couldn't report on the last month in Flat Earth without mentioning the content of our next clip, which also features our third Nathan saying stupid shit. I also want to take this opportunity to announce the invention of a completely new internet word. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the Swantards.
In 2020 we took a little trip with Quantum Eraser in the Flat Earth Discord ship. We looked at the horizon and we made a measurement, and we caught the bloody globers in the Black Swan argument. We fired our guns and the globers kept it coming. There wasn't as many as it was a while ago. We fired once more and the globers took to running back to Gem Panda server to crawl into a hole. Now Quantum Eraser, he lacked confidence, but he put on a snazzy show for the audience. The Baltards flee when QB they do see the General Patton Swan roll suits him to a T. We fired our guns and the globers kept it coming. There wasn't as many as it was a while ago. We fired once more and the globers took to running back to Gem Panda server to crawl into a hole. Yeah, they ran through the briars and they ran through the brambles and they ran through the bushes where a rabbit couldn't go. They ran so fast that the hounds couldn't catch them. Back to Jim Panda server to crawl into a hole. We fired our guns and the Glovers kept it coming. It wasn't as many as it was a while ago. We fired once more and the Glovers took to running. Back to Jim Panda server to crawl into a hole. Hey, Baltard, it's not about the oil rig shape. Say refraction one more time, Huey's mouth will go agape. Quantum eraser has smashed the go-to bits. If you want to see a curve, ask a girl to show her tits. Fired our guns and the Glovers kept it coming. There wasn't as many as it was a while ago. Fired once more and the Glovers took to running. Back to Gem Panda server to crawl into a hole. He's not angry, he's just a bit rat-trad. Alpha males drive the Baltards mad. Get off the globe and you'll get back your mind. You can count on Huey for a kick in your behind. We fired our guns and the Glovers kept it coming. It wasn't as many as it was a while ago. Fired once more and the Glovers took to running. Back to Gem Panda server to crawl into a hole. Sound off! Black Swan! Dismiss.
2, 3, 4.
Sound off.
Black Swan. Doo-doo. Black Swan. Doo-doo.
This is not a black swan. This is not an aberration. This is not a rarity. This is your every damn day swan.
Yeah. And so that's what this is the black swan photo that everybody's referring to. And I kind of agree with Taboo Conspiracy when he said in here, I think it's like, I don't know why you're calling it a black swan. It's your every damn day swan.
Yeah,
I mean, I agree with that, because that's like what I was wondering. I was like, why is there everybody going on about this photo? I mean, haven't we seen pictures like this dozens and dozens and dozens of times? Like, why? Everybody's like, well, the Ballers can't deny this one. And I'm like, well,
they will.
They will, because they've denied all the others. Like, I don't know what giving it a special name is gonna do as far as that goes, but that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, in the name of marketing or something like this, I guess that's the idea. You know, give it a name that has some traction.
The Black Swan being cited as this new great flat earth evidence. It's an old angle using the horizon in the globe model against them. It's nothing new. Even the black swan image, footage, is nothing new. The only people benefiting from this are the super chat crew, the PayPals, the people with adverts. It's obvious these people do not want to put an end to this. Plenty of big channels do not want to put an end to this. All they want is your money and you to tap them on the back and thank them for the regurgitation that most channels are doing.
So again, it's beyond me why this has been put into the fray rather than going, woohoo, this is solid. You cannot get around. There's no debunking for this. Not only that, all the presentations that have been done by the person who came up with the logical consistency has given you any pathetic attempts at rebuttals in advance. So you can debunk them should you be challenged with crap, ham-handed rebuttals from the globe heads to this modus tollens formulation. When you rearrange your logical consistency, you can easily turn it into a fallacy. Then why do that with a really solid proof that debunks the globe and there is literally no rebuttal? Why is it catching like wildfire? Well, because it's pissed the globe heads off no end, because they can't debunk it.
And it's not just the observation, it comes with the argument, obviously the modus tollens argument. And it's like that combination has brought a very big change to the whole dynamic of the way these guys are arguing. To have somebody like, Rumpus or these guys say, I've never argued, for the one thing they've been arguing for years, that's significant. right? Because that's how you know that's how you know when somebody's game has to change. When they have to change their argument, they're losing.
Their argument is that Earth has a sphere geometry, and this debunks it. In essence, this debunks the entire heliocentric model. It's the best debunking of the sphere to date.
And then further kudos from me to John to have formulated it in such a way that's brilliant, but with all the crap we've had, so beautifully tongue-in-cheek with the use of Tollens and Permans. I thought it was intellectually very clever to reverse that on them.
You know, these observations were out there. No, the ballers weren't stressing out over these oil rigs and the horizon behind it before this. Until somebody took it and pointed it out and put a name on it and said, look, we're going to look at this particular observation right here, and we're going to place an argument on it that you cannot defeat in any way, shape, or form.
Well, John said from the beginning, share it. I don't need to take credit for this. Share it as the way I'm showing it to you because it's solid. It's lock, dead, globe killer. Don't change it. Share it this way. So John said from the beginning, I'm going to use a hostile witness, Andrew Thomas Young, I'm sorry. He gave credit to BLM B69. He gave credit to Ben. And then he put together something no one in Flat Earth ever did to this point, to my knowledge, Modus Tollens. Made it a solid argument, logical consistency. And then said, just share it, spread it out. You have my permission. Don't even ask me. Just go share it, mirror this thing. And what did they do? Well, we just heard. They don't follow instructions.
Did anybody foresee ballers throwing away their entire arguments? No. Right? Nobody saw that coming.
I did.
I don't really get it. You know, it seems like cast iron flat earth proof and it's being criticised because there's been examples before. Well, I haven't seen anybody formulate a modus tollens argument. This is the first time I've seen it. Yes, there could be other examples, but why would you want to dilute what is basically an absolutely stone cold, undebunkable flat earth proof?
So, yeah, you want to call it, you want to say there's all these observations, there's plenty of black swans, that's great. But the fact is, because John especially has pointed it out and put the argument out there, it is now defeating ballers all over the place. And I think that's a significant event.
It's exactly what every flat earther was looking for, period.
It's unarguable, 100% undeniable truth. The Globies choose not to respond to it, and yeah, it's basically what we've been looking for years and years and years.
As I said many, many moons ago, the biggest enemy to the flat earth are half-wit flat earthers. I wrote this early yesterday morning to the team, and I quote, "Since the ballers are vanquished with an exclamation point, see the black swan, I think it's time to shift my focus to what I first announced on Adam's show some time ago. Ironically, IRM, Ironic Realm Media. Exposing pretender clown flat earthers. Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? And I most assuredly have what they call in the industry a target-rich environment. I officially declare war on the goobers Karen B, Iru Landucci, and this Rodrigo, right? I don't know who he is. I should identify him a little bit more clearly since I'm going to declare war. So hold off on that last one. If you're associated in any way with these numpties, I suggest to pop smoke and get out of Dodge to avoid any collateral damage. My deepest apologies to everyone out there, flat earthers and future flat earthers, for allowing their nonsense to go essentially unchallenged. That stops right frigging now. I will not tolerate your glue sniffing, window licking, crayon munching, boneheaded presence in this community. spewing your science illiteracy, which you clowns collectively got from a single Cracker Jack box, and the basic reasoning and critical thinking skills of a root vegetable. Are we tracking Sally?
Okay. Well, Karen B's a really good friend of mine.
I'm not done yet. Listen, folks, there's many, many geometric horizon black swans. Just because I called it the black swan, aka more or less the poster child, doesn't mean there aren't thousands of other black swans. There are. Why? Well, the earth is flat. Duh. That fact doesn't make the black swan not a black swan, bozo goobers. It's over. I'm sick of this. Right? There's another one that I'll personally take care of. End of message.
That wasn't supposed to happen and didn't.
All right, you bozo goobers.
Oh my God. I mean, there's so much in there, isn't there? Those people are just delusional.
Well, your server got a big shout out. I didn't know there was a video with the song mentioning your server.
I know. I have to say, I'm very pleased with that.
I like the 80s one. The 80s song was a little more catchy.
Right. Right. I thought so. Yeah. Yeah. I like the idea that, I think that is a song about my server, not about the Black Swan, because my server gets a lot of mentions. So that's good. But I think for me, the bits that I thought were really delusional is, you've got Chocolate Saying and what's that other guy? Is it 10th Man, his name?
Yeah.
And they're just such arse kisses. They're just...
they're nice, though.
And they go...
I don't know. They're both nice.
And they go, it's... the Globers are stressing and it's smashing Globers all over the place and just all this... nonsense.
I know. Well, I thought that it was interesting. I don't have much to say about the whole Black Swan thing because when it first came up, I heard the Black Swan being called the Black Swan photos. So within 24 hours, I know there was at least 3 people who had done debunking videos of why it's not a black swan and how it can be explained why we saw this. And
right.
Blue Marble had one right away. So I don't know if they ever really realized that there were, when they say that it hasn't been debunked and
right,
it can't be, it has been.
Well, well, one of those clips I showed, that guy, you hear him say, the Globers aren't responding to it, and
right.
I in his comments, I posted the links to, I think there were 11 videos that were debunking videos, that name the Black Swan. So, it's as responded to as anything ever has been, I think, probably since the Isle of Man. And I think...
the good old days.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of parallels between the claims that are being made about this and the claims that were being made about the Isle of Man. That was irrefutable proof that just couldn't possibly be debunked, and all the same sort of phrases were being said about that. Also, they seem to think that the idea, because they've got this logical syllogism, this whole, if P then Q business, that somehow makes it so it can't be refuted in some way. I don't know why. Any thoughts, Curved?
Yeah, I'd like to stick up for Mary Mom for a moment. Everybody's down on her for that song, and I was inspired by her perseverance. She was obviously suffering some sort of like a mini stroke or something during the recording. She powered through despite not being able to enunciate, and I give her props.
Isn't that a characteristic of that kind of, what do you call that? Is it called bluegrass or something like that?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me.
Isn't that a kind of a thing that they do where they go, you know, they kind of chew up the words like that, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of like an area of the Deep South that Twit wouldn't even venture into.
Twit's not from the South, are you, Twit?
I'm here now. I'm what they call a damn Yankee.
Right.
Right, Curved?
Yeah, we're both damn Yankees.
Yeah, you're a damn Yankee too.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to say, I want to welcome Mr. Cheswick to the chat as well. He was pointing out earlier that he does good music, and I think that's true. I think that's true. That's a fair comment. So, kudos to him for what he does.
Yep, his videos get shared around your Discord quite often.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all good entertainment, and we like that.
Yep, well done.
That's an aside. Anyone else got anything more on the Black Swan? I know it's a really big clip, wasn't it? But this, you know, a lot kind of being said about it. But, you know, some people obviously like it, some people don't. I think that, you know, Level Earth Observer there we heard, and Karen B to some extent, are recognizing that there's just a load of hype around this. And
no, the way I interpreted what Karen B said at first, I thought that she was maybe, you know, going against what Quantum Eraser was putting out. But now that I've heard her say it, her words, which it seems to me that she's saying that's how it is because the Earth is flat. So that's how we're going to see all pictures. You know, that's not an unusual thing because the Earth is flat. That's how it should look. That's how it does look.
Right.
And so I don't think she was saying that, you know, Quantum Eraser was, I think she was saying that he was hyping something that's just an everyday occurrence. Like in her mind, her views, that is not spectacular.
Right.
That is flat Earth.
But
so
I think that's true though, you know, and you know when they've been going on and on about this and we've proved it now, and I've said, well, if that's the case, why are you in my server asking me to, you know, argue against this thing that you claim cannot be debunked?
Right.
Off you go. Take it to the BBC or take that out into the street. Show those people when you're doing your street activism. Show the people the picture of the 2 oil rigs and see how compelling they find that image. And I think that most people will not find that very compelling. You know, there are much more, they've come up with better stuff than that, I think. I mean, of course, it's all wrong, but some of it is more convincing than others, you know.
Yeah, it's just it's a catchy thing, you know. Most of 24/7 changed their names to include Swan in some way. So
yeah,
it's something that's unifying, I guess. Gets them together. A victory, a win. I don't know. It's good for them, you know. It's just wrong when they say there hasn't been a debunk offered when there's been several.
Right, and that we're stressing about it, and you know, I just look at it, refraction. You know, I can't even be bothered to spend time on these things anymore now. You know, when they get a really good one, you know, that isn't like, for instance, it's taken from a foot above the water. You know, you're doing everything you can to maximize the effects of refraction, and then once you've done it, you're going to say, "Oh no, there was no refraction that day." You know, when you look at what, for instance, Miles Davis did, where you know he's on a hill or a mountain, and he's got a bridge and another a hill in the distance. You know, that's all we need. That's all we need to demonstrate that the Earth is flat. All we need is that Miles Davis did, but of course his shows that the Earth isn't flat.
Right.
But it's that simple, you know. But they always have to do this stuff where it's just above the water, and you know, of course, the water itself has an effect as opposed to doing it over land as well. So, they're never gonna. We're always going to be able to say refraction, aren't we? To all of these things, whatever.
Well, and I mean, they say that that's our excuse. That's yeah.
Right. I mean, I dare say they'll probably record me saying that. We're always going to be able to say it's refraction, but it's true because, and this is another thing I've said. I've said, show me an observation show me a shoreline 100 miles away. Show me a recognizable shoreline where I can see some landmark on the shoreline 100 miles away. Wouldn't
it be great?
Right.
I would love that. Yeah.
Right. That would be it. Job done. But of course they never can do that, can they?
No.
It's
I'm waiting to see that irrefutable proof.
I want to just read out what Charlie said. Let me just find the right mouse.
Charlie bit my finger.
No, not that, Charlie. Remember that the whole if Q then P allows you to say if the Earth is flat Q, then the sun would never set P. The sun does set not P, then the Earth is not flat, not Q. And it's very easy to lay out a logical syllogism which debunks the flat Earth, as he has so ably pointed out. And just because it's a logical syllogism doesn't make it correct. The premises have to be true. It's just assume that they're true. Anything else on that before we wrap it up? It's been a good show. I didn't know whether we'd get this long out of it, Twit. We've done well.
Yeah.
Good hour
You
and a half.
always do good. You do great all the time.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been
You're welcome.
Great to have you on. You should come on more often, as I keep telling you. But, I know you have...
Well, I don't want to run all of your fans away.
I know you have better things to do, as everyone else did today, apart from Curved. And Curved did as well, although his thing got cancelled. So I know,
I'm so jealous. Everybody else has a life that they had fun things going on tonight.
Right.
I had nothing.
So I'm very grateful to both of you for being here. Thank you, Curved.
It's my pleasure.
He sounds pleasured, doesn't he?
I know.
All right. Well, a thank you to you, my lovely audience, for being here and enduring my clunkiness. So, let me wrap it up. So, everything's in the wrong place. I can't find anything. So join us again soon for more fabulous flatness. In the meantime, if you see something that you think should be included in the show, please post a timestamp link in the comment section of this video. Or join our Discord server. The link is in the description, along with channel links for tonight's panel. Well, actually for Everett Anderson, but, subscribe to his channel. Our Discord has, what we got now, about 1,800 members, and we managed to keep a conversation going 24/7 almost. We welcome new members with opposing views, so click the link and join us. Thanks again to tonight's fabulous panel. Thanks to all of you for watching. We'll be back around the same time, probably next month. And so until then, please rate, comment, and subscribe, and share this video. Have a great evening.
Good night. Great show, Jen.
Just running me tight.
Stop talking about it and do something!
Suck my dick, Earth, with that bullshit.
Really?
It's like a gentle hate.
Do we have another benevolent star here? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are you benevolent to your friends?
My name is Logan Paul, and I think I'm coming out of the flat earth closet.
This is so fucking depressing. I can't be a flat earth person.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have a flat earth and things make